Welcome to the first garden tour on my channel, The Peaceful Garden. Alright, so we're starting over on the veggie garden side, walking towards the entrance of the garden. I wanted to show off our beautiful arch. Our roses are just starting to come into their second flush. Their first show was beautiful, so we're looking forward to more. So over on this side of the arch, we have Strawberry Hill by David Austin. It's this beautiful pink climbing rose. And then over on the other side, we have the Eden Climber. But she's starting to bloom again. It's very exciting. So how we've trained this rose is we've actually taken the main canes and weaved them laterally, kind of weaved in and out, because the more angle you have on your climbing rose, the more lateral shoots you're going to get, which lateral shoots are where your roses come from. Here's a good example right here. So here's the lateral cane, or here's the main cane, and then here's the lateral canes. And each one of these is going to produce a bloom. So over here is kind of the work in progress garden bed. Over here I have some pink astilbe that my uncle actually gave me. So the blooms I need to deadhead, but it was a very pretty like bubblegum pink. We have Miss Sexy Rexy Rose, who's getting ready for her second flush. She's got lots of buds on there. I've got the Ooh La La Poppy. We have another one over here that's getting ready to bloom. And then here I have the Strawberry Shake by Monrovia, Panicle Hydrangea. They're kind of almost finished. There is some new growth over here, and it's actually showing off a little bit of pink. So I think this is very pretty. I actually like the green blooms. I think they're beautiful. So yeah, I'm really happy with this. And then over here we have our spiral juniper that is in need of a haircut at the top. And then we've got bubblegum, Super Tunia Vista bubblegum in our fence planters. This year has been a really awful year for budworms. I've been spraying weekly with BT, and even then it's still, so they do look like they're struggling a little bit, but I think what I'm going to do is come out with some Captain Jack's Dead Bug Brew and spray at dusk and see if that changes anything. I do have some seedlings that I've planted, that I've started from seed. So I have some anise hyssop kind of dotted around, some Dusty Miller New Look, as well as some irises. These are actually divided from my friend, so she gave me a bunch of divisions. So waiting for those to bloom. They're kind of a mystery color, so I'm excited about that. And over here I have a little pot with Supertunia Priscilla. I love this flower. It's like, Bordeaux is hands down my favorite, but this one, it's like a ruffled Bordeaux. So I just love this one so much. I got some Super Bells White in there. These are some geraniums, Maverick Salmon that I started from seed. Those need to be deadheaded. And then this hanging basket is definitely struggling. So we do have some vinca in there, some carnation seeds that I started from, some carnations that I started from seed, and then this is a wintered over Superbenia. I believe it's amethyst, but I'm not 100% sure. And these are some petunias that I started from seed. They're called Apple Blossom. But as you can see, the budworms, they've just been chowing down. I have the Endless Summer Bloomstruck Hydrangeas. I just planted these maybe less than a month ago, so they are struggling a little bit. This tends to get a little bit more sun, more of the afternoon sun. So usually the first year they struggle a little bit, but then they rebound, and then next year we should be good to go. I've had a lot of good luck with the Endless Summers. Speaking of Endless Summers, this is the original Endless Summer. It's pink or blue depending on your soil pH. I've tried so hard to acidify the soil, to do everything, but our water here is just really alkaline. So I'm just embracing this beautiful pink because that's what nature wants to give us, and I'm enjoying it. I think it's beautiful. Down here, I've got Superbenia Amethyst. I think this is one of my favorite annuals. It's just so pretty. The umbels. I love that word. They do look like little umbrellas, so these flowers are actually called an umbel. But I just think they're so beautiful. They really do look like they're sparkling. I've got some sedum in here. These are some geraniums that I started from seed last year, Maverick Apple Blossom. And then some of that anise hyssop that I started from seed. These seeds actually all came from swallowtail. And then this Endless Summer Hydrangea is really struggling. But this one did look like that last year, so I'm going to be patient and just enjoy the blooms that we get. And I know next year it's going to be thriving. More of the anise hyssop. So pretty. And then planted on either side, I've got more. I've got Priscilla. And then, of course, Supertunia Bordeaux. So this is what the lemon tree is looking like. I did trim off a lot of the suckers, so it's a little bit more open now. So this endless summer hydrangea was planted the same time as the other one, and you can see this one's doing a lot better. And then here is my Mystic Spires blue salvia. I love this plant. It's just so pretty, the glossy green leaves. These purple shoots are just so pretty. So this rose is called Jump for Joy. It's a very pretty pinky coral color, and that one's getting ready to bloom as well. I'll have to do a rose tour. It's hard to get them all when they're blooming at the same time, so maybe I'll do a rose tour and then do pictures of what they look like in bloom. Back here I have the Silver King Euonymus. I think this is just such a beautiful bush. It's the variegated leaves. I love that creamy white with the beautiful green. I think this is kind of gives us a nice anchor plant. And it adds some weight to the garden. The obelisk back there, we've just started some star jasmine, so next year it'll probably be all the way to the top, so that'll be so pretty to look for next year. Here's a tree. I've got the iceberg standard rose. I just love this rose, it's so pretty. It's just a classic white rose. We have them on like parking lots and side of the roads here in California, but I think they're beautiful and they obviously do well. Over here I have my Proven Winners Limelight Hydrangea. This is its second year here. I don't see any blooms yet, but this one's usually the last one to bloom. And this area right here gets blasted with the hot afternoon sun. So the fact that it's still happy is a miracle. So like I said, the budworms, even with spraying BT, they're just eating away at all the blooms. I do finally have some that don't have holes in them, but I am going to come through with that Captain Jack's and see if I've even found them on my Super Venus as well as my geraniums. So they are attacking in full force this year. Back here is my Wichita Blue Juniper. I just love this icy blue color. I think it just looks so good, especially with the wall back there. I just couldn't be happier. And I do have some boxwoods back planted kind of throughout the back of the bed, and those are Green Mountain. Those kind of bloom a little bit, or grow a little bit more conical shaped. So I kind of wanted that nice little cone shaped boxwood structure in between kind of the wispiness of like the Wichita Blue Juniper, the Hydrangeas, and then the formality with the roses. So I kind of like that formal slash cottage look. So it's kind of a formal cottage garden. And then over here is one of my gardenias. This is the mystery gardenia. It's actually a grafted gardenia. This one's by Monrovia. It smells so good over here. And then I do have Dusty Miller New Look that I've started from seed, kind of planted on repeat throughout this garden bed. And then over here we have the standard rose. This is silver lining. That is going to be so pretty. Look, a little garden friend. And then these are my sun patients. Not doing as well as I hoped. I thought, you know, the sun, the sun being in their name, that they would handle the full sun. I feel like this area is struggling a lot more. I know it's not a watering issue because, as you can see, the drip's been running and everything's getting plenty of moisture. But the ones over here, and these are starting to push new blooms, but just kind of struggling right now. And then back here, Queen of Sweden, not in bloom right now. That's okay. Here's some of that budworm damage on my Bordeaux's. And then back here I have a Limelight Prime actually starting to bloom. 4 mixed blooms. So this will be very exciting. This is year number 2 for this one, and it's grown exponentially. So super happy with that. And this one's actually only rated to a zone 8, and we're a zone 9B, so you know, I like to experiment, and sometimes you're pleasantly surprised. This is some lamb's ear, Helen Bonstein lamb's ear. I just divided a big clump, kind of dotted it through so that way I have more plants. Free plants, yay! Back here is an ever-blooming gardenia. So pretty. The scent is just magical over here. And then here is some of that Sally Fun Snow White salvia. I definitely want more. I think it looks so pretty, especially against the purples. I really like purple and white. That's kind of the planting color I'm going this year. And then if I stand back, this is actually a plum tree. And if we look close, sometimes we're able to get plums before the birds and the squirrels. But I love the structure of this tree. So even if it didn't give us fruit, I'm still happy with it. This is my favorite rose. This is the David Austin Ambridge. I just love this apricot color. This is hands down my favorite rose. I definitely want to get more. It's definitely on my list. And then over here is the Fragrant Delight Heliotrope. We actually had one of our little fishies from our fish tank pass away, so we've buried him under the ambridge. So Alex marked him with one of his little toy fish. So Minnie Mouse will live on. I have another Limelight Prime back here. Not as far ahead, but it makes sense. This one doesn't get as much sun. I just love this Dusty Miller. This is the New Look variety. It's just so pretty and soft. This is my first year growing it, so I will definitely have to keep growing that one. Morrison Patience, I do like to just kind of repeat the same plantings, so it's just really pleasing to the eye. It's very, what's the word I'm looking for? I like symmetry, so I feel like it's very symmetry, kind of a repeating. It's just, I like doing it. And then back here is the Icy Blue Podocarpus by Monrovia. This is my favorite tree. I know a lot of people say that it's a slow grower, but we planted this 2 years ago, and it was probably half the size. So it has grown. So basically from here up, that's all new growth. So I feel like it's the perfect tree. I do feel like it grows, fast enough for what I want. I don't want this tree to get massive in a short amount of time, so I think this is perfect. But I really do like that icy blue color. It's evergreen, so it's nice winter interest. Because a lot of this stuff is deciduous, so in the winter time it does look pretty barren. So it's just nice to have a really pretty structure. And this rose is the David Austin Alnwick. It's a very pretty pink rose. Funny story was this, I actually ordered a Olivia Austin bare root. Obviously it was bare root, had no leaves on it, planted it, and once it finally started blooming, the roses were bright red. So I contacted David Austin and he said, yeah, that's definitely not Olivia. But unfortunately they were out of stock, so I picked the Alnwick instead, which I'm really happy with. So I think this is the perfect rose for this spot. So in front, right here, we have the smoke bush. I love this shrub. So it did have this very large cane that actually was just too much, so we did trim it up. It was bending in the wind. So as soon as you cut anywhere, it does start to send out new shoots. So I think that'll be really pretty. So we'll have 3 new branches coming out right here. Of Of course, you do forfeit the blooms because they do bloom on old wood, but for me, I grow the smoke bush for the foliage, not necessarily the blooms. I do like to keep it size controlled, because if not, it would get massive, but I do like it a lot. And then behind is the Proven Winners Incredible Hydrangea. I love this hydrangea so much, and we definitely should not be able to grow these here, let alone thrive here in hot East Bay, Zone 9B, California. This area does get a lot of double sun, double shade. It's protected under this amazing live oak tree that provides so much shade. Best borrow view ever. I don't have to do any maintenance, so I love it. I just think this is the prettiest hydrangea. Ugh, they're just gorgeous. And then over here I have some autumn jade sedum. I like this look because they kind of mimic that kind of hydrangea look that I want, with it being a very drought tolerant plant. So I think for me, I love having it in my garden because it does complement the hydrangeas. And then when you have this beautiful Mystic Spires backdrop, I think this is my favorite view of the garden. Beautiful. And then over here is the Coco Loco rose. It's just this beautiful antique plum purple color that fades out to more of a lavender. But this rose is just gorgeous. I do need to do some deadheading on it, but I just think it's beautiful. Behind Coco Loco, I have the David Austin Desdemona Standard, getting ready to show off some new blooms, so that'll be exciting. And then I do have some Maverick White geraniums that I started from seed. And then another gardenia. I believe this is the ever-blooming variety as well. And then over here is the Olivia Austin Standard. So I did get my Olivia, finally. I did have to go through a little bit of, I did try to buy it as a potted plant, which didn't do as well, and then the bare root debacle, so I decided to go with standard. So I'm very, very happy with this. This hydrangea is just one of those random, unlabeled macrophyles that you find at your big box store. I've had this for 4 years. It started off as this little tiny plant, and it has grown massive. It really, really likes the spot. The first year it was blue, and this year it's more of a purpley red color. So I do put soil acidifier in there just in general because hydrangeas do like a little bit more acidic soil, and we definitely have a higher pH due to our water. So not necessarily our soil, but the water itself is a little more alkaline. And then back here I have another Proven Winners Incredible. Just love this plant so much. These blooms are just incredible. Maybe that's why they call it an incredible. And then over here on this pillar, we've got some star jasmine that is just out of bloom. This was incredible when it was in bloom. It smelled so good. I wish it bloomed the same time as the Incredibles, but it is nice to have some early blooms and color in the garden. It's these beautiful creamy white little stars, and they smell so good. And it always blooms around Mother's Day, so it is a nice little treat. And then this massive tree right here is the crepe myrtle. I love this tree so much. In the summer, it gets these big pink plumes, and it's just so pretty. I can't wait until it blooms. But it provides so much shade. I just love it. And then here I have the pink debutante camellia. This usually blooms December, January, so that is a very early bloomer. I love having a little bit of color in the dead of winter, so I do love having this here. And then back here I have more limelights, panicle hydrangeas, Proven Winners of course. And then way in the distance is another just random big box store hydrangea. And this one actually bloomed pink and blue, so I don't know, but it is really pretty. I do love hydrangeas a lot. This is the Olivia Austin that I ordered from David Austin as a potted plant. It hasn't really done very well. I might have to move it to give it a little more sun because I think this area is too shaded. So it's kind of hard to grow roses in the shade, so I think I'll move this to a more sunnier location and then see how she does. And then in the corner I do have another Wichita Blue Juniper, and then I just planted another Limelight Prime Hydrangea. I was at Home Depot, and you always got to stop and look at the garden center, and I saw this and I said, oh my gosh, this is so pretty. And I looked at the price tag and it was $36. So I'm like, yep, you're coming home with me. This is just a huge size for $36. It had to come home with me. So now I need another one right here. Otherwise, I don't have my symmetry. Here's more of that Helen von Stein lamb's ear. More Mystic Spires because it's the best. And then I do have two standard ever blooming gardenias. They are not blooming, so but that's okay. Down here is a little lime punch. I've had this for 2 years and I have not seen it bloom, so I'm not quite sure it's going to, but you know, we'll see. Why not? What do we got to lose? And then we have our baby blue spruce. I'll put the name of the tree on the screen because I can't remember right now, but it is a dwarf variety. We bought it last year as a living Christmas tree. I just absolutely love this, having a living Christmas tree that we can decorate and then also have year-round structure. But it's so much fun to decorate at Christmas and put the solar lights on it and decorate it with little baubles, and it's just so much fun. And I do love having the gardenias standards. You know, I do like the symmetry, what can I say? But this gardenia is actually just coming out of bloom. I do need a dead head, but it was really, really pretty. Over here, I have the rolled doll, David Austin. This rose is so pretty. I do love the orange. It's almost like a pale orange that kind of fades to a little bit of a pink color, but I do love having some orange in the garden. We have more of the blue podocarpus. I love this area. And then we did mimic the same thing on the other side of the greenhouse. Go over there first. But instead of rolled doll, we did David Austin Bring Me Sunshine, which is a very pretty yellow rose. And then of course the Super Tunia Vista, Mini Vista Whiteout. And then we have the greenhouse. So this late January, we had a really, really bad storm, and I had one of those kind of closet zip-up Amazon special greenhouses that I'd actually, used for 2 years, and it did really well for what it was. But it completely blew over and broke in the storm, and I had so many plants and things that I had propagated and so much in here, and I was devastated. I was actually at work when it happened, and I went in the bathroom and I cried when Patrick called me. But as soon as I got home, this was already on order, and this was kind of my, bucket list item that I really, really wanted. And so that's the story on how we got our new greenhouse. We were actually really lucky to have this concrete pad already here. There used to be a hot tub when we moved in. We got a lot of use out of it, but then once little boy was born, I just didn't feel like it was safe. Yes, I know we have a a pool, but he was much smaller, and I like having this pool because we can take it down in the winter. And it is nice to have a pool, but not the maintenance of a big pool. But anyway, that's how we were able to get this nice level concrete pad. I've got my little table and chair where I can just sit in here. Just just stare out at how beautiful my garden is. So what's left in here, I really need to get into the ground because things are struggling. But these are some carnations that I started from seed. Oh my gosh! See how bad the budworms are? Like, they're not even supposed to like salvia, but yet there it is. Oh boy, this is a battle this year, I tell ya. I tried to grow Lisianthus from seed, and boy, was that a challenge. So out of the 3 varieties, I got the Echo Lavender, and there's 2 plants in there. The Echo White, I've got 1, and then there's 2 of the other. I think this is more lavender. Oh, Voyage Lavender. So I'm going to get those planted and see how they do, because boy, it took forever just to get them to germinate. But this is definitely a learning curve there. It's not just plant it and put it under a light and let it grow. This one was tough. Some little black violas. Oh, they're so cute. And then over here is the shade garden, which I had these beautiful foxgloves, but they are about done with their blooms. The rest of these I'm gonna let set seed, so that hopefully I'll have more next year. And then I do have a calla lily. This is another camellia. Can't remember the name. It's I'll put it up on the screen. But I actually got this at Costco at a really good deal, so super happy to have this. He's going on a ride. And then over here in these bench containers, I have the Easy Spirit Rose. This is probably one of my favorites. I know I keep saying that, but this rose is just so beautiful. It's a creamy white rose that kind of fades with these little pink edges, but the smell isn't just amazing, and it does so well. I actually came out and deadheaded this whole bush. There was nothing left, and it quickly pushes new growth. This one's a little behind. That's okay, it'll catch up. And then over here is just kind of more of my pollinator-ish area. We do have a little fountain. Of course, we've got Mickey Mouse. So I have this beautiful white Gara as our centerpiece, black petunias, Dusty Miller, and some black Sweet Caroline, Sweetheart, Jet Black for Improving Winters. I love this potato vine. But I really like the structure of this. It's kind of wispy, but then it's kind of monotoned. And again, the budworms are just desecrating, so that's kind of a bummer, but you know, it's okay. It's part of life, it's part of gardening, it's how you learn. Not everything can always be beautiful. So over here is my 20-year-old jade plant. I actually started it when I was 17. When my mom passed away, there was a beautiful jade plant in the front yard, so I did take one leaf and I propagated it, which at that time I didn't really know a whole lot about gardening, so it's amazing that it's grown this big, but it's traveled with me my whole life. So I do love having this here, and I think it does bring some structure to the garden. And then this year, for the first time, it actually bloomed, which I've never had it bloom. So I think it's finally happy here. We do have this really awesome pergola that was here when we moved in. So it's really nice because it's got, under these pillars, I've got some room to plant stuff. So this year we did lemon coral sedum. I do love that chartreuse color. And then we did white vinca. So I thought that was just really pretty. Sometimes it's hard to get it in all 4 quadrants because this one gets more sun. And then over here, this one gets more shade. So some of the ones in the back aren't doing as well as the ones that get a lot of sun. But that's okay, it still looks really pretty. We're back at the rose arch. So in this little corner, I have the Colette rose, all budded up, ready for its second flush. And then this is the Windermere by David Austin. You can see the leaf cutter bees at work. So cute. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you for letting me share a little piece of my garden. Have a great day. Bye.